Welcome to Boat Buyer's Secret Weapon. I'm your host, Captain Matt. Today we're talking bow riders versus dual console. Very similar boats, but in my mind, very different applications, what they're right for and what they're not right for, and we go through those differences. So here we're looking at what I call a bow rider, a Regal, a Sea Ray, a Chaparral, a Cobalt, those style of boats with an outboard. This is a dual console with an outboard. Look very similar, right? Let's take a look at differences. This Key West as a dual console. You have an open bow, a windshield, two captain's chairs, and you have an open deck. This is what I consider a bow rider. You've got an open bow, a windshield, two captain's chairs, an open deck with seating. But they're different applications. One of them being the height of the bow. If you look at that flare up in the bow and you look at the height of the bow, and you can see it kind of comes down a couple inches down here towards the transom. The bow rider, you've got a fairly shallow bow, and it comes straight across. You also don't have that flare out like you do here. What that's designed to do is that flare is going to slap the water down. If you hit a big wave, it's going to push that water up and out. Whereas the bow rider, it's not designed for those big heavy wave conditions where the dual console is. It's built to be run at the coast where weather can pick up and you can get caught offshore in some pretty rough conditions, and it's a safety issue. There's some more safety things that we'll talk about. You also see the windshield a little bit shorter coming back. It doesn't rake all the way back and have that sleek look. You also have the tower version, it's going to be more of a hard top, whereas the tower on a bow rider, it's going to be more for wakeboarding, a wakeboard tower with maybe a soft bimini top. Or you may have neither of them and you just have a bimini on each version, okay? Now let's take a look from the top. If you look, bow, very similar, a little bit wider on this, but that's not necessarily because it's a dual console. Open bow, the shorter windshield. But what you have more of in the dual console is deck space. That deck space is for a couple of things. One, if you're going to be fishing, you've got nice, easy access. That's the reason why the windshield doesn't come back as far. So you have easy access to the gunnel if you have a fish on. Same thing with the back bench. You've got just a basic back bench, but a lot of area and a nice, easy walkthrough. On the bow rider, what do you have? You've got seating, you've got comfort, you've got a sun pad that adjusts into loungers. It's all about comfort and relaxation, okay? That's the big difference. If we look at the transom, again, that back bench seat, one of the adjustments it makes is it folds down. So if you're fishing off the transom, now you've got even better access. You've got more cockpit space to move around and to get those fish on and to do the things that you need to do. You can also see it is very basic. You just have a bare bones textured fiberglass flooring, and we'll talk about these things right here in the safety conversation. On a bow rider, what do you have? You've got comfort, you've got textures, you've got looks, you've got styling. The back sun pad that adjusts into a lounge. About looks and styling and comfort. The dual console, very much about utilitarian, about use, about safety. Same thing with the helm. Much more basic, much more utilitarian. The helm on the bow rider, much more sleek, much more styling, much more that can be damaged with the salt water, with that harsh environment that you have in the coastal environments. That's why you keep things more simple on those coastal boats, and the dual console fits that bill. The bow rider, comfort. You've got textured, you've got stitching, you've got looks. In the dual console, it's simple. You've got as little stitching as possible. You've got a smooth surface so that salt doesn't get in and cause damage. You've got utilitarian, just a basic flooring, nothing snapped in, no snap-in seagrass or carpet or sea deck. You also will notice a gasket around these hatches here. Where these seats might just flip up or come off completely and be open, you've got a gasket here. Why? Well, if you're out on a rough day, if you get caught in a storm and you get in some big chop and you're running over 3-4 footers and you take one over the bow, you don't want those compartments to fill with water and have to run all the way through the boat and out the back end, right? Those are some of the things that matter for safety when you're on a boat like this. The other thing is, if you do take that wave over the bow or you do get caught in a big rainstorm, on the dual console, you're going to have what's called scuppers. It's these little drains that are right on the deck of the boat, and they allow water to come on the deck, wash all the way down, and just go right out the back of the boat. In addition, you have your bilge pumps, which are at the lowest point, And if water does get in and flows down to the bilge compartment, it's going to pump that out. So you've got two ways to get water off the boat. So that safety factor of having that additional drainage of the scuppers, which is much faster than the bilge pump and frankly much more reliable on the bow rider, you're just going to have a bilge pump. If you are looking to buy a boat, grab that Boat Buyer's Toolkit. It's totally free. BoatBuyerSecretWeapon.com/toolkit. If you are new to boating, Boater Bootcamp. It's a fantastic program, totally free. BoaterBootcamp.com. We're going to talk about safety. We're going to talk about maintenance. We're going to talk about rules of the road. We're going to talk about navigation. All of the things you don't know, we talk about in there. And again, it's totally free. If you're looking to get better control of your boat, BoatBuyerSecretWeapon.com/captain for the best boat captain on the water, the easiest, simplest way to get total control of your boat. Thanks a lot. Remember, life truly is better on a boat.